Sunday morning. What's happening? What's happening? What's happening? You know what time it is. It's time to talk some NFL football and other sports happenings. I am your host, Kendrick, with TFG Sports Media and Kendrick Sports Hustle. That's SportZHustle. The best 30 to 40, 50, 60 minutes to an hour. It just depends on how long we go. Sports talk show on social media. Hope you all are having a great weekend. We got a lot to get to, but before we do, let's make sure you come in, you like this show, make sure you share it to all your social media platforms. And if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to TFG Sports Media and Kendrick Sports Hustle on YouTube. Make sure you follow them both on Facebook. And very important, make sure you hit that notification bell, that little bell on YouTube, so you will be alerted when new content is uploaded, when live shows are coming, or whatever is happening. So I got my main guy, my brother from another mother, in with me, KOTV Sports Director Michael E. Coleman. Brother Mike, how you doing this Sunday morning?
I'm doing good, man. And the E stands for easy. Easy like Sunday morning, man.
I know that's right. And viewers, can you guess who sung that song? Easy like Sunday morning. I want you to put that in the comments. See if you know your musical history, like my man Michael Coleman knows his. Man, I'm good to see you as always, man. Always. Let's go ahead and jump into this thing, man. We got to talk about that game last night. And if you've been hiding under a rock, you got to know what game we talking about. We got to talk about that Colorado State game last night that went down. Mike, I have to be honest with you. I fell asleep in the second half. I did not even know this game went 2 overtimes till I woke up this morning. Tell me what you thought about the game.
I watched it. I watched it at the office. I watched it when I came home. I watched it after I nodded off. And, oh, man, it's like 1:45. It was a good game, man. And I think it's to me, this win is a whole lot more impressive than they had if they had won by this point spread, 23, 25 points, because they had an obstacle. They had adversity knocking on the door. And for young Shador with a minute 21 to drive the field 98 yards, and then the extra 2 points for the tie the game up. I mean, that's you talk about ice water in somebody's veins, man. And because I thought they were going to lose, I said, well, okay, then they'll be humbled, and maybe they'll still be humbled, Good game.
Right.
I give props to Norvell. He got his players ready. I mean, they got some talent over there on Colorado State. Even the Blackburn kid, Travis Hunter and Kamara, they did some dirty things, but you're not going to hear a whole lot about that. If those players had been on the Colorado team and they did dirty stuff, that's all they be talking about today because of who the coach is, of course.
Oh, of course. Right.
Hey, go ahead.
Coach Prime, I listened to his post-game presser. I watched it on YouTube, and he basically said the first half we played like bull jive. And that was my thoughts. That was my thoughts too. The first half, offensively, they just couldn't get anything done. It just seemed like they were kind of sleepwalking, in my opinion.
Well, even after Shiloh got the 80-yard pick, I thought, okay, they're going to shake out of it now, but they never really did. And what Colorado State did that was good, and then this is what teams are going to take a blueprint and try to do, because Nebraska tried it, keep Shador on the sidelines. Because it's obvious, as is the case with all quarterbacks, Mahomes, Brady, whomever. If they can't get a rhythm going with their receiving core, they're going to be struggling. I mean, I don't know if you saw the first half stats. I mean, they were abysmal for him and for the offense in that respect. But they came alive in the second half, and they came alive late. They almost came alive a little bit too late.
Yeah,
that wasn't by design. They were able to, as Hank Stram would say, matriculate the ball down the field, and once it came to a soccer style shootout, that's what it was. It was a soccer style shootout.
Right.
The overtime and the double overtime. I was like, okay, they're going to win this game. They were going, because that defense was just too that tight space. That those DBs in that secondary were hardcore, man. And this is a game. This was a satisfying. If you're a Colorado fan by virtue of Deion Sanders, this was a satisfying win because of the circumstances. But for the most part, I mean, whatever adversity they may have felt in the Nebraska game, they overcame it in a hurry in the second half. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
TCU game, they were hyped from beginning to end to pull out the 3-point win. But in this game, it took them a while to get the motor running. But when they got it running, they stalled again, but they still found a way. And they're going to need that kind of history when they play Oregon and USC back to back.
Right, because they got Oregon next week, and then they got USC after that. So these next two games are definitely going to be some telling games for see where this Colorado team stacks up, in my opinion, in that Pac-12. Let's talk about what happened Wednesday with Colorado State head coach Jay Norville. He got this thing going with his presser on his radio show, and I quote: "He said, I don't care if they hear this in Boulder. I took my hat off and I took my glasses off." And I said, when I talk to grown-ups, I take my hat and glasses off. That's what my mother taught me. And boy, that started this thing going. Mike, do you think those comments was disrespectful?
Yeah, I'm going to say yeah, because he says the way I was raised. Well, you're kind of talking like Dion's mama didn't raise her kids to be gentlemen or whatever. I mean, it's all for show.
Exactly.
It's all for show. And Dion's used to being the entertainment. We hadn't
Right.
heard of Norvell till he made that comment.
You're right.
And he might want to take a page out of that and start talking that way and being more bold. And all he did was he became what he doesn't like. He became prime when he was talking. I don't care who hears it. You can put on ESPN. Yeah, you just doing what Dion does on the daily.
Right. Exactly. He didn't even realize that what he was doing. And
Right.
then the funny part is he did his interview with his cap on. Didn't
Well,
he say he take his hat off when he does? You
Right.
know,
You know
I'm like,
what?
come on, coach. Now, wait a minute.
You know what? On the heels of that comment, somebody posted, and I thought it was so sweet. You know, Bear Bryant and Tom Landry didn't take their hats off inside of a building.
They damn sure
Hey,
did.
oh, that was a gusher right there. But he just became what he criticized Dion on being. And now maybe he needs to adopt that style because it worked for a little bit with his players. It worked. And maybe he need to thank Dion. And I'm gonna tell you another reason why he need to thank Dion. He's gonna get a coaching job down the road. It's gonna be a pretty plum job off the
Oh,
heels.
he is.
You know,
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree with you. And I would say this. I think Colorado State got some talent. I mean, I didn't, you know, I didn't know what to expect, but I think they got a talented team. Now, I mean,
I don't know if you saw the play. I think it happened in the second half. A receiver caught the ball, and they had to judge as to whether or not he was in bounds. I mean, just the way he caught it.
yes, I saw the highlight. I didn't see it when it happened, but I did.
And
Yeah.
it was ruled a catch. But it was. I mean, the athletic skills this kid had. I mean, Colorado. Hey, folks, take notice. Colorado's on both sides. Colorado State, Colorado. They got some players, and I ain't gonna lie. I mean, before Dion joined Colorado, it appeared to be the whitest state in America besides Montana and South Dakota.
You're right, Mike. You going exactly where I was going. This is a win-win for the state of Colorado.
Oh my goodness, brothers will be learning how to ski pretty soon.
Because they already like them bunnies.
Yeah, nobody too.
You're right. That's what I said. So this definitely was a win-win for the state of Colorado, man. Because I was looking at just the whole atmosphere, and we hadn't even touched on. You know, College Game Day was there. You had Rock, you had the Rock there. You had Lil Wayne. You had Cameron. I mean, Coach Prime has totally changed the atmosphere in Boulder, Colorado.
There is no doubt about it. And I read an article 2 days ago. Since the TCU game, that market, Boulder, has generated $18 million.
Wow.
Of the Colorado Buffaloes. You can't. You used to be you could just call them coming. You know, you didn't need a reservation for dinner. You just showed up. Well, you can't just do that no more.
Right.
You get a reservation. Hotel rooms are jacking the prices up, and they're getting paid to, you know. And so, I mean, they were the epicenter Saturday afternoon, and it's going to be crazy next week in Oregon.
You're right. Now let's talk about Shedeur, man. At this point, you know, he's the front runner for the Heisman. I know it's still early. I mean, you know, the young fella, 38 for 47, 348 yards, 4 touchdowns, 1 INT. That 98-yard touchdown drive to get his team to tie that thing. I mean, what else can you say, man? I mean, a lot of people say, he hadn't done this before, but Coach Prime said in his press conference, well, yeah, he did it at Jackson State. Y'all just didn't see him.
That's just it. They all want to discount Jackson State.
Right.
And as you mentioned, it's a win-win for Colorado. It's a win-win for HBCU/Jackson State. No matter what Jackson State does, because even Louis Riddick pointed out, hey, listen, this is pregame. He says he's been doing this not just in Colorado. Don't forget he was doing it in Mississippi too, and that's
right.
And I think when people disregard Jackson State, it's the they disregard HBCUs, and that's the national attitude for some when it comes to HBCU. Oh, they're not playing anybody. That what I mean. And even before Shador, I mean, think about the number of folks who came out of Jackson State and HBCUs. Walter Payton.
Exactly.
I mean, he just did it on the bigger. He did it at Jackson State. He just had a chance to do it on a bigger stage. And there's countless number of them. Doug Williams, you and I both know. You can go through the list. Shador is just the latest in this social media era to be able to do it, where folks can have access to see what he's done before he went to Boulder, Colorado.
Right. Now let's talk about an injury that a lot of people didn't realize. I didn't realize he was still there until I read this morning that they took him to the hospital in the third quarter. Defensive back wide receiver Travis Hunter took that vicious sideline hit in the first half. He would play after that, but he didn't play much. And then I read that they took him to the hospital. They still not saying what his injury is, but Coach Prime said in his presser that he may be out for a few weeks. What does that do, you think, in your mind for the offense and the defense of Colorado?
Well, I think the defense is going to be just fine. And I think the offense is going to be fine. They found a new weapon in Michael Garrison or Harrison.
Yeah, that tight end, man. He was catching everything but a cold, wasn't
he? He kept going like this, like,
right.
They didn't scout me up. And so they're going to find a way now, I have to believe, considering the kind of staff they got, how to get the tight end more involved. He was hardly involved until late in the game. And maybe out of necessity, because Hunter's not a tight end, but still you had a pass catcher out there that they relied on a great deal to go across that middle, well, to go in that seam, and he's a big dude,
right?
And now, okay, and you think about the number of players he has on that team that he brought over, that to me, their depth. We don't know what they got on that bench that came over from other Power 5 conferences or teams. And we found out last night with Michael Harrison.
Right. Yeah. He caught 7 balls last night for 76 yards and 2 touchdowns. Yeah, I mean, that, like I said, that kid was catching everything but a cold. So and Colorado, like I say, I think they needed a win like that. I think that's gonna build that builds confidence, because to me, blowouts are cool, but blowouts can kind of give you a false sense of security, like I am arrived, we the ish. I think you gotta have games like that to say, hey, wait a minute now, we still, hey, them other guys put on their shoulder pads and they cleats just like we do, so we got to respect our opponents. You
remember what when Tua Tagovailoa and Jalen Hurts with Alabama, they won the national championship under adversity, under oh my God, these guys are going to lose, and they pulled it out, and that made Jalen Hurts a better player, I believe, and it's gotten him to the NFL and as a runner-up to the Super Bowl. And Tua's on a tear, so you never know what a game is going to do for a player's future, for a player's confidence and bravado. And then on top of it, you got Prime on the sidelines. I mean, like the kid that we just mentioned who caught that interception in the end. I don't know if you saw this. Coach he was coaching him on the sidelines.
Okay.
He's on the sidelines. He was talking to him, and he's doing gestures like da 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 da. And look who comes up with the pick. Because they're coaching right there on the spot.
Yeah,
and that's how you do it.
That's how you do it. So Colorado gets the big win over their in-state rival, Colorado State, in 2 overtimes last night. So now they look forward to their next 2 games. Going to be pretty tough. They got Oregon and USC. Now let's move to the NFL, Mike. Let's talk about the biggest story that came out of last week: the injury to Aaron Rodgers. Now, if y'all missed last Monday night's game, Aaron Rodgers only played basically 4 snaps. He uh, he took a sack by Bills defensive end Leonard Floyd. I first saw it. I thought it was just an ankle. He was helped off. They would eventually cart him to the back. His left ankle X-rays were negative, but then Coach Robert Salah was saying his post-game press conference is not looking good. This is something else. And lo and behold, on Tuesday, we found out that Aaron Rodgers has a complete tear of the Achilles, and he's done for the season. Recovery time, most likely 4 to 6 months. Rodgers signed a 3-year, $112.5 million contract with the Jets in the offseason. After spending 18 seasons with the Packers. Mike, you worked in that market. I think you covered the Jets pretty like that was your beat. What's your thoughts on this big development in the Big Apple?
You know, when he got hurt and when he sat down, you know, he just kind of sat down. I had a feeling it was Achilles, only because when I was in Kansas City and Eric Berry suffered the same injury, you know, and he kind of did the same thing. It's like, no, actually, the second time it happened to him. First time, it happened to him twice. Once when he was running after, they're playing the Raiders, he was chasing the ball carrier. Then the other time it happened after he healed. And he kind of did what Rodgers did, just kind of sat there. I said, he knows right away what it is, so it's got to be Achilles, and of course it was. Now he's 39 years. I'm not sure how, even at the regular timetable, if that's going to suit him, being the age that he is. I don't know what his conditioning, his shape is, or anything like that. But he's all, as he said, like he echoed your boy Garnett. Anything's possible. So we'll see what happens. It's a heck of a blow, though. Right. I mean, the only highlight they're going to have of him of this season is run out there with a flag. That's the only highlight they're going to have of him that they're going to put in their game film at the end of the season. But for all the, I say hype, for all the excitement that was generated by him signing with the Jets, it was 9/11, all that stuff come together, and then this happens. I mean, it deflated that crowd. Now, they won that game thanks to the SFA kid, Xavier Gipson. But that was a consolation prize. That was a consolation prize. And that just means Zach Wilson, you got to grow up.
Right.
And you get to grow up fast.
Right. Well, you know, on the flip side of that, too, I did talk about that, too. You know, it's not like Zach Wilson doesn't have any, you know, NFL experience. I mean, he was the starter. He started quite a few games, so it's not like he, you know, this is going to be any big bright lights for him. But again, I think for the Jets, you're right. It's got to be next man up. You know, that's part of the game, man. Nobody's going to be feeling sorry for the Jets. Nobody's going to be feeling sorry for anybody. And you know, that big thing starts today at 3:25 in Dallas.
And the irony of this is, but it is so NFL. They spend all the offseason in an offhanded way, letting Wilson know, all right, you just need to sit over here a little bit and just watch the man go to work.
Right.
All that time telling him he wasn't nothing. And then, oh boy, gets hurt. Oh, hey, we're going to need you now. I mean,
right. That's how it worked, Mike.
That worked. You know, well, you didn't like me. Well, we like you now, so get your butt out there, okay?
You was our second choice to take to the prom. Since she can't go, we got some issues. We're gonna take you to the prom now.
Exactly.
So anyway, so that's where we are with A-Rod, man. Again, ain't nobody's gonna feel sorry for the Jets. And again, and speaking of, I'm glad you brought up the young brother Xavier Gipson. By the way, he was named AFC Special Teams Player of the Week. If you don't know a little bit about him, he's from Dallas, Texas. So he's coming home. He went to Woodrow Wilson High School. He originally he committed to SMU. Then he flipped it to the Piney Woods of East Texas, the Stephen F. Austin State University down in Nacogdoches, where he was the WAC Offensive Player of the Year like 1 or 2 years. So he's a pretty good football player. A lot of people wasn't expecting him to make this team because of all the wide receivers they had, obviously. But he was able to have a good training. Yeah, undrafted free agent, exactly. So he was able to make this team as undrafted free agent, and then they had that 65-yard punt return for a touchdown in overtime. What a way to start your NFL career! So we want to give a shot.
Who else?
Go ahead, Mike.
You know who else went to his high school?
Oh, Tim Brown, right?
and Davey O'Brien.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, the David O'Brien Award. That's right. He is Woodrow Wilson.
He come from a legacy high school of football players, and so it's only fitting that he be the latest to draw up excitement in the NFL coming from that high school.
Yeah, so we definitely want to give a shout out to Xavier Gibson. All right, Mike, we're gonna talk about some week 2 matchups real quick. Then we're gonna get out of here. Let's see. My Packers are at the Falcons. I just read that Christian Watson and Aaron Jones are probably not playing.
Yep,
hamstring injuries. I think that's going to change the way this game is going to look for my Packers at the Falcons. What's your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, because Love looked good, and he can still look good today. I mean,
right.
Like you said, it's always the next man up. That's one thing, especially about the NFL. You got all those bodies on there. There's a reason why you have a 53-man roster.
Right.
I just kind of think my young stud from UT.
I knew you was going to bring him up, Bijan Robinson. Yeah.
I mean, I think this could be a breakout game for him, and so I'm gonna give the nod. I'm gonna give the nod to the Packers, but I'm looking for Robinson to really shine.
Okay, and that's a noon kickoff. Let's move to your Chiefs, man. They got the Jags.
Yeah.
How you feel about this one?
I'm kind of nervous a little bit. I'm nervous. I think they're going to pull it out. I'll say that right away. However, I don't know if you put Kelsey coming back from that, whether it was the bone bruise on the knee or a hyperextended knee. They never was quite clear what it was, but it was painful and it was damaging. Or Mr. Jones, Chris Jones, if they're going to be put on a pitch count, especially Jones, because you can work out all you want when you're on your own, but it's not a football workout. Right. And they're in the swamp. They're in Florida, man. So I think his conditioning could very well be tested. Chris Jones, I believe his conditioning can be very well tested down there against Jacksonville Jags. And, the Jags only lost 27-20 to the Chiefs in that AFC Championship last year.
Right. That's what I was thinking. Right.
Without Ridley.
And he had a breakout game, I think, last week too.
Yeah, he did. And so, I mean, pardon the pun, he bet on himself. Having a season coach. But
that was a good one too, Mike. he bet on himself.
I just think, and I like Trevor Lawrence. At first, I thought I kind of thought he was a Tebow height kind of guy. But he's far from that. He's the real deal. We've seen him transform. And the lucky thing for him is, he went to a bad team and he had a bad coach in, what's his name, Urban Meyer. But he's got a Super Bowl winning coach in Peterson. And he's been allowed to grow without the hype and without all the distractions down there in little bitty Jacksonville. I say little bitty down there in Jacksonville, Florida. I mean, they're probably kind of like Green Bay or San Antonio when it comes to the Spurs. They're the only game in town, and I think that's benefited him. And I think we're going to see the payoff today. But I'm going to go with Kansas City winning this game, but it's not going to be easy.
Okay, let's move to the Niners at the Rams. I think Rams kind of shocked a lot of people the way they beat the Seattle. We wasn't expecting that. I know I wasn't. And the Niners right now, I'll be honest with you, they look like the most complete team in the NFL, in my opinion. Big NFC West showdown. Mike, who you like in this one? Niners at the Rams.
It's not just your opinion, my opinion too. I mean, they are complete. Bosa got his check. Bosa came to play. And I mean, comparing him to Chris Jones, it's a different situation because there are more supporting casts for Bosa where he ain't got to do everything on defense. That's how deep and strong their defense is. And Brock Purdy, I keep waiting for the clock of midnight, to end. Bing.
Right.
He's won 8 in a row now. Is that what it is for him? Something like that.
It's something like that.
When you take into consideration last year, it can't be in a row because they lost 2.
Right, they lost in the
right. But he's been on the tear. And I just kind of think San Francisco made a mistake in getting rid of what's his name?
Trey Lance.
Trey Lance, because for as much success that they've had with quarterbacks, it's going to come back and bite them in the butt. Because they had Garoppolo gone, Lance gone. They got Sam Darnold in there with them now, who they say he's the best
Mhm.
passer in camp during the summer, and Brock
Mhm.
Purdy. And so, I mean, they, the way the San Francisco 49ers handles quarterbacks, it's astonishing considering that position. Um, so you are surprised at what the Rams did, but they were playing
Right.
Seattle. I expected more from Seattle, but I'm
I,
gonna go with
I I I did too. Geno Smith signed a pretty nice contract deal. He didn't, he's solid. I mean, people argue. I've been seeing in sports groups where some people saying that they think he's better than Dak. I don't know about that. I think he's had a resurgence in his career in Seattle, and that's good. Sometimes a change of scenery changes the way you play. But is he the guy to lead a team up to a Super Bowl? I don't know if he's that guy. Seattle, just to me, they just kind of, I don't know. Right now, I just think they just trying to throw stuff to the wall to see if it stick at this
yeah,
point. You
yeah.
know what I mean? I
Right.
don't I don't think they in rebuild mode. Are they in rebuild mode? Are they trying to I don't know what they're trying to do out there in Seattle, in my
But we'll
opinion.
go with San Fran.
Yeah, I will too. All right, let's move to the big one. Jets at the Cowboys. That's a 3:25 kickoff at AT&T Stadium. We all know the Jets without Aaron Rodgers. Zach Wilson is going to be. He's definitely going to be tested because people can say the Giants are trash, which they are, but damn it, Dallas defense they look pretty tough right now, Mike.
They'd be hard pressed to play it better than they did last week.
Right.
I mean, 'cause that's tough to keep up that intensity.
Yeah.
Uh, but I think they're going to be just fine. I'm looking to see what Dak does against a pretty good defense in the New York Jets,
Right.
and that's what they're gonna come after Dak. And so when Russell Wilson was winning, he had a kick butt defense on the other side, and I think
Mm-hmm.
maybe the Cowboys could be in that kind of situation. I mean, Wilson
Good
was good.
point.
Wilson was
Yeah.
good, but the Legion of Boom, that was your
Right.
ticket there. So I think with Michael Parsons and D Law and guys like that, um, breathing down the quarterback's throat and coming after him, that I think that's going to help be a lifesaver for Dak. But Dak's going to also have to get it on his own. He hardly broke a sweat last week. There
Right.
was
He
there
didn't have to,
was
really.
didn't have to. They probably shrunk the playbook. Say, you know what? We're just going to shrink the playbook, save the other stuff for later. So looking for Dak to have a good game, a great game. I want to see Dak come out strong, and I want to see the defense come out even stronger. And say that's the formula the Cowboys need to have all season long.
Well, I did read too, Mike, that wide receiver Brandon Cooks is out. He won't play. He has I think it's a knee issue or something.
Yeah, yeah.
And what about the offensive line? I know they were saying a couple of guys were nicked up. Have you read
Um,
or heard anything?
I know that Josh Barr, I think's his name. I think he was injured before last week. I don't know if he's back.
Okay.
Um, but all the more reason why Dak going to use his legs. You know,
Okay.
and
Right.
he's known for that. He,
Right. Right.
he picks his spots.
Right.
Brandon Cooks, okay, he's hurt right now, but you didn't have him last year. So if nothing else, you still got the main guys you had that you were throwing to a year ago.
Right.
Gallup, Lamb. I want to see Gallup
Mhm.
really come on strong.
Yeah, I
So
want to see. He need a breakout game because he's been pretty quiet. He hadn't done
he
much,
really
coming
not a
off of that knee injury.
injury and
Yeah.
now he's completely healed. I
Yeah.
think we could see some good things from him today.
Okay. Last Sunday night game, we got the Dolphins at the Patriots. Who you got, Mike?
Well, I think Tua, since he's been in the league, he's beaten the Patriots. I think he's
I
unbeaten.
think you're right. I think he hadn't. I don't think he's lost to them. You're right.
And I think he's playing with a vengeance this year. I mean, this
Yeah.
guy, took some jujitsu lessons on how to fall and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
He already knows. Okay, I'm gonna get hit, but I got to figure out how I'm going to hit now. He has to negotiate that with the defender. You're going to hit me
Right.
down, throw me down this way because I learned in jujitsu class I'm better off this way. But I'm going with the Dolphins, man. I'm going with the Dolphins big time. And Tyreek Hill and Tua, I think they're gonna put on a show today.
I'm going with them too. I think the Patriots are kind of like they trying to figure out what they doing too. And I don't, Belichick. I mean, he made this might be his last hurrah. I mean, I'm not saying they're gonna get rid of him or fire him, but I think now they probably don't you think the Patriots may be looking to like, okay, we need to put some new blood here in this as the pilot of this plane.
Well, there's no doubt. I mean, his last hurrah was the first year after Brady left. You know,
Right.
he's just sticking around because Robert Kraft's gonna let him stick around. Um, yeah, I think this is gonna probably. I'm just guessing. I haven't heard anything. I think Belichick wraps it up after this year. Depending. Well, I'll put it this way: depending on what happens this year,
Right. I
think
agree.
he wraps it up.
Yeah.
I don't like the quarterback. I like
Mhm.
Zappy better than I like the guy they got.
Yeah, I'm with you. I thought Zappy was gonna kind of be the guy that take over for Mac Jones. I thought that's what I was
Brought
thinking.
him
But
back, and so there's confusion there. There's
yeah,
confusion going on there on the offensive side of the ball.
yeah.
Zeke, I don't know. Zeke had a fumble last week. I don't even think he had 30 yards, and I
Mhm.
was expecting him to be a big flash, but you know, Zeke, in your situation, you can't fumble because people are already saying you're written off. They've written you
Right,
off already. You
right.
got to be stronger. So hopefully, he has a better game. But I think Tua and Tyreek, and let's face it, the offense defense, they need some help though. I mean, they gave up a bunch of
Yeah,
and scores last week. So unless you think you're going to be in a shootout every time, and y'all are confident that the offensive side is going to be the one that wins it, can't play that way in the NFL.
yeah. They need some help. So we got 2 Monday night games this Monday. We got the Saints at the Panthers and the Browns at the Steelers. So that's interesting. That'll be something to look forward to on Monday night. All right, Mike. That's a wrap, man. Any final thoughts before we get out of here?
No, I think we're in for a heck of a season. Somebody's going to break out, and Detroit. I know they didn't face Kelsey or Chris Jones, but we're going to see what they about today with a fully powered team. I think I know folks have picked them to win that division. You
Yeah,
know,
I'm one. I'm one that picked them. You know.
we're going to see if they can live up to
Yeah.
that kind of prosperity and keep it running.
Yep. So we'll see. Can't wait to watch the football. So
Sure.
Mike, were you watching the Chiefs? Are you going wait, is the Chiefs? Yeah, they on the I think the early game CBS. Okay.
Early
So
game,
you're gonna
yeah,
be checking
yeah.
them out. All right. Well,
Give
all right then.
All
All right
right,
then,
man.
brother. Well, you enjoy the
Right.
rest of your Sunday. And
Okay.
if y'all want to check my guy out, Michael Coleman. He's a sports director at KLTV. Go to KLTV.com. Check him out. He does Red Zone, best coverage of high school football here in East Texas. And make sure you go do that. Make sure if you haven't already, download that app, KTRE KLTV Red Zone app, so you can keep
know
up
about
with it.
that. You know about it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I got it. I'll be on it. Be trying to check it out. So I got you. But anyway, all right, my brother. Have a good rest of your day. We'll holler. All right, that was my man Michael Coleman. Make sure you guys, if you watch this later, make sure you like, comment, subscribe to the channels TFG Sports Media, Kendrick Sports Hustle as well on Facebook, and like and follow it on Facebook. Make sure you subscribe to it on YouTube, and make sure you click that notification bell. Very, very important to get alerted when new content is headed your way. Again, I am your sports guy Kendrick. Hope you enjoy your football Sunday. And before I get out of here, I gotta say, let's go get them dirty birds packed. Let's do it. We might be a little short-handed, but we're gonna go down there to the ATL. We're gonna have us some bird. We're gonna have some fried bird for dinner. How about that? Again, I'm your sports guy, Kendrick. Thanks for watching. Make sure again you like, subscribe to the channel, even comment, let me know, and come check out some of the other stories that's already uploaded so I can get those views up. So again, you all have a great rest of your Sunday. I am out of here. Peace.